A former president goes on trial, and the mayor moves to hire someone who worked for Rudy Giuliani as the city's lawyer. Lots to talk about with O'Brien Murray and J.C. Polanco. Let's start with President Trump. He's on trial here in New York, but what happens if he were to get convicted? Go ahead.
I think the short answer to that is what will Secret Service let happen. I mean, there's this one thing in judicial process and what happens with anybody being convicted of anything. But when you're talking about a former president and the security threats that could be out there anywhere, the idea of him going to prison, I think, no matter what the party is not where we're going to go.
I don't know. The question was, what happens if he's convicted? He's a citizen. He's entitled to rights, and he has to pay the price. So I don't know what the sentence is going to be if he is found guilty on these counts. But the idea that somehow he's untouchable because of Secret Service is a bunch of mumbo jumbo. What? There's just no way possible that we're going to treat someone differently after conviction because they happen to have Secret Service. This country is a country of laws, not a country of men. You know this. So he's going to have to somehow pay the price. The big question, though, Marcia, is he going to get convicted? That's a big one. That's a big gamble for the district attorney. I mentioned this to you earlier this week. All it takes is one juror to say, I don't think he intended it to be that way. I don't think the president intended for that hush money to be for purposes of affecting the election. I just don't think that he wanted his wife to find out. If one juror thinks that, you got a hung jury and the guy walks away.
At the end of the day, you've got a misdemeanor that's been trumped up now to a felony at this point based on what they're trying to link things together. And also, no matter what the decision is from this jury, and the process is the process, there's an appeal process. That will not happen before the election. So no matter what happens, everything we put aside until after the election.
But Obi, let me ask you this question. If he gets convicted, and you know he is now a Florida resident, does that mean that he can't vote for himself in the election in November?
I don't know the legalities of that, where that comes in, because it's a question of when you're convicted versus when the papers are filed across the board with anything. And everything will get stayed until a later date when the appeal is done.
You know what's crazy about Florida? Florida has one of the most conservative laws when it comes to this. Florida will not let you vote until you've completed your sentence, parole, and probation. Now, can the president, if convicted, vote in Florida? Well, the question would be up to Governor DeSantis at that point. He doesn't have the power to pardon or commute a sentence, but he does have a commission that is able to hear this reason as to why he should be allowed to vote. And considering that those are Governor DeSantis' appointees, there's a good chance that he may get that right restored.
Until all remedies are used across the board, and the appeal is finalized and there's a final decision.
But that's not true.
There wouldn't be something there at that point. It'd be stayed.
You could appeal a decision, but that doesn't mean you get to walk scot-free.
But as I say, but from a legal standpoint, there are opportunities where it all gets stayed until while it's on appeal at this point.
But he would still be convicted. That's the issue.
Gentlemen, let's change the topic for a second. The mayor of the city of New York is now hiring Randy Mastro, he was a Democrat, but he worked for Rudy Giuliani, and he's a reputation as a pit bull. I mean, he represented Chris Christie in the Bridgegate. He's representing Phil Murphy, the governor of New Jersey, to try to prevent congestion pricing. He's had a whole bunch of cases, and now the mayor, who's got his own problems, is now hiring him as the corporation counsel. What do we make of this?
Randy's a great choice. He knows city government. He knows City Hall. He knows the mayor's office. He has fought on issues that matter to this mayor, and he's fought for the city. He has worked for Republicans and Democrats across the board. The people that oppose him aren't against him for who he worked for. They're against him for different issues he fought for and represented clients for that they oppose. That's what this comes down on.
JC.
This is the political question of the day, is that you have an African-American woman who currently sits as the corporate counsel, which is the chief lawyer for the city, which is a big deal.
And a former judge.
And a former judge. And, you know, a lot of folks in the city are saying, wow, you know, she shattered that glass ceiling. We have one of our own finally at that position. And now the mayor, which is his prerogative, is about to make a shift. Is about to make a change. There are political consequences to that decision. Now, you're right. Randy Mastro, wait. He's absolutely qualified. There's no question about the guy's status as an attorney. He's a superstar among attorneys. But the question is the political ramifications for this. This is going to be tough for them.
This is only political within the city council itself. She was not even the first one appointed to that position. She was the second one. The first one was an Irish guy. So it doesn't matter, I think, as far as you're talking about who that person is from a visibility and political standpoint, because they're corporate counsel behind the scenes. Randy would actually be much more visible than anybody that's been corporate counsel in many years. It's also great for the mayor, I think, and for City Hall. He's going outside his regular group of people he's worked with. He's expanding the base of City Hall. He's getting people to come support him and work with him.
But interestingly enough, though, the progressives in the city council have vowed not to vote for him. So do you think that the mayor can even get this approval from the city council for this appointee?
There's many ways to do this, whether it's that position or another. He can put him as deputy mayor for something and actually have the corporate council report to him. There are many ways to do this if he wants them.
You got to give the mayor credit for picking a fight. Right? This is a big one. Because, I know that it doesn't matter to a lot of folks in the city, but it does matter to a lot that she's an African-American woman, former judge who sits in that position. And to tell these progressives that they're going to put a former deputy mayor under Rudy Giuliani, it's looking for a good fight. I'm not saying that the mayor is not seeking the fight. He can't win the fight, but it's definitely going to.
But here's the real question. Why did the mayor, at this point in his mayoralty, where he has a number of investigations, a number of suits, why did he decide that he needed to change horses now at this point in his term?
It's not uncommon for mayors to switch horses on a lot of different positions in the middle of their term. We see deputy mayors leave. We see tons of commissioners leave. So the idea that he wants to make a change is not the end of the world. The question is the political ramification of this one decision. Maybe. What
do you think?
It broadens his opportunities for what he can do with the experience that he has compared to the current council.
Isn't he looking for a pit bull?
Everybody wants their attorney to be a pit bull at one point and no one to turn it up and turn it down. But it brings a different view than he's had in that office in a long time.
I think Randy Mastro's going to be bored out of his mind as corporate counsel because what you said is behind the scenes.
Listen, the guy makes $1 gazillion a year. The corporation counsel pays about $235,000. Why would he take this pay cut to take this job at this point in his life?
Because he wants to make a difference for New Yorkers. He does what he believes, and he's got a mayor he wants to fight for. If you want to fight for the mayor, why not go work for him?
I think the Mastro legacy is a long one here in New York City. This would just be another feather in his cap.
Let's switch coasts and let's go to New Jersey. And let's talk about the fact that Robert Menendez has signaled that he's now going to turn against his wife or blame his wife for his woes in this corruption case in New Jersey. Good tactic, bad tactic?
Didn't they meet during the first trial?
I'm not sure.
I think she was around the first trial, if I'm not mistaken. Now all of a sudden you come back to this. What he's doing is fighting for his life. It's the second time he's on trial.
But he's going to turn against his wife.
I've seen it done before.
You're an attorney.
Yeah, I've seen it done before. You know what's the biggest shame of all this is that he's still sitting in the Senate, Marcia. He's still sitting there as a senator. I mean, are you kidding?
Yeah, but they did remove him as the ranking person on the Senate Foreign Relations Committee.
But that's a standard procedure once the indictment came down. Also, New Jersey's changed quite a bit too. Murphy's wife was running for the Senate.
She gave that up.
So the rules, but she gave it up because of the backroom deals that had been got thrown off as far as ballot access goes. There was a lot going on there. She wasn't getting the support she thought she would get. So New Jersey is ripe for a lot of change right now. Menendez is holding on. The trial, who knows where it's going to go.
I'm not surprised that he would do that. If you look at the senator's record, it's just horrendous. I mean, look at what he's done in the Dominican Republic. Look how he's used his office. And I mean, it's not a secret that the guy is just dirty. And I'm going to be very clear about that. Now, the fact that he's going to go ahead and maybe selling out his wife, I'm not surprised at all. Look at the indictments. Look at what he's done. And it's just not surprising. What disgusts me is that the senators have not removed him from the Senate like the members of Congress removed Santos.
Until you're proven guilty.
Yeah. No, but Santos wasn't proven guilty yet, but the Congress took him out.
The other thing
but Senator Menendez is there with golden bars in his suits and cars galore, and he's still sitting in the Senate. It's ridiculous.
The former governor of Virginia had the same type of issue with his wife, too, at the time, and that went up on appeal. That was a very big case as well. It's not the first politician to do this at that level.
Governor McDonald's totally different from this.
We're going to have to leave it right there for now. This is a great discussion, but we have to leave it right there. But we'll be right back.